everyone to our little vibrant town of Hillsboro, Illinois. I'd like to take this pristine opportunity to welcome our governor to our little humble town, Mr. J.B. Pritzker.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. That may be the shortest introduction I've ever gotten, and maybe one of the best. So it's just so beautiful here in Hillsboro, and I have to tell you, just the sun shining on all of you makes me feel like I never want summer to end. But I am just so pleased to be with all of you, and Mr. Mayor, thank you for all the great work that you do to make this one of the vibrant towns of the state of Illinois. What you and Senator Turner and Jonathan Weyer and your area partners have done to strengthen Main Street and to foster community is truly outstanding. And I am so grateful for your partnership in rebuilding Illinois. We're looking to make it even easier for cities and towns all across the state to replicate the success that you have here. It's no secret that the last 18 months has forced us all to grow accustomed to a little more uncertainty in our lives. But what rings true without a doubt is that the strongest recovery is one that spurs economic opportunity in our communities, that puts the working families of Illinois first. That's the guiding belief that led our state through 2020, a difficult year, no doubt. From our nation-leading emergency rental and mortgage assistance programs to our child care restoration grants, which became a national model, to our business interruption grants, big grants as we called them. We provided hundreds of thousands of residents and small businesses just a little more stability in the midst of truly economic hardship for so many. And in 2021, Illinois is going bigger and better on behalf of our workers, our entrepreneurs, our parents, our students, and all of our residents. We've built a new $250 million Back to Business grant program to help even more small businesses across Illinois hire back staff and get back on their feet. Our rental relief program is one of the most efficient and effective in the country, honoring the fact that shelter is a fundamental right and the foundation of a better life, regardless of your income or your status. It supports both renters and landlords as they recover from the economic damage the virus has done. And I just want to take a moment to tell you the pride that I take in the idea that Illinois has been third fastest in the nation at getting those dollars out the door to landlords and renters to make sure that we're putting people back on their feet. And we've been called out as one of the best in the nation, and that's always a great thing. Illinois being a state that I always want to brag about, and that's just one little feature of what I love to brag about, getting things done that will help people all across our state. And we've set into motion a new grant program for tourism recovery to bring forward new attractions and festivals across our state. But today we're here to talk about our plans for an innovative new capital program that marks our latest step forward in driving an inclusive economic recovery that touches every part of Illinois. Declines in tourism, in hospitality, in the arts, these pandemic casualties have had real consequences for the spaces and places that tie our communities together. These industries generate spending that fuel local economies, employ our residents, showcase the contributions of local business owners, and enhance our social and our civic lives. They're one of the markers of a strong community and deserve to be invested in as such. So I'm announcing today the Rebuild Illinois Main Street and Downtown Capital Program, a $50 million commitment to revitalize the commercial corridors and Main Street areas hit hardest by the pandemic. This first-of-its-kind program recognizes and addresses the impact of the pandemic on city centers and commercial corridors. delivering quality of life enhancements that will invite people back to Main Street, grow jobs in the community, and deliver modernized infrastructure to commercial neighborhoods that have waited too long for their fair share. Best of all, these grants support a grassroots vision for recovery, with state, local, and private dollars coming together to shape tomorrow's vibrant Illinois. I'm intent on delivering the pandemic recovery that our residents deserve. This is yet another way that we get there, and we won't stop until the job is done. So thank you, and with that, I'd like to turn it over to Allie Grady of our Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. Allie?
Thank you very much, Governor. Good afternoon, everyone, and I am Allie Grady. I'm the Central Regional Manager for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. On behalf of our Director, Sylvia Garcia, I'm proud to join Governor Pritzker, Senator Turner, and our local leaders here to kick off this innovative new capital program to support cities and towns across our state. Our new Rebuild Downtown and Main Street Capital Program represents a first-of-a-kind program focused on that revitalization of our commercial corridors, the lifeblood of our communities. Through a $50 million NOFO that's been announced by DCEO today, we are inviting cities, towns, chambers of commerce, private developers, just to name a few, to apply for these funds that will revitalize their communities and the local economies. This will help with funding projects like pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure, modernization and rehabilitation of structures in disrepair, and investment in local high-speed broadband. These projects will help communities upgrade their downtown and Main Street areas for businesses, visitors, and those that live in the area. Through Downtown and Main Streets, we will seek to award grants anywhere from $250,000 up to $3 million based on the scope and the impacts to the area. Consistent with our other Rebuild Illinois programs, we'll take efforts to ensure that we're leveraging the use of our public funds against private matching dollars to multiply the return for our communities. That's why we will require a 50% match from private developers and organizers seeking assistance. Additionally, we'll harness the economic impact of these capital projects funded for the residents who live in the area by ensuring that these projects fulfill the State Business Enterprise Program requirements, as well as those set forth by Illinois Works. This program is one of many that are currently underway at DCEO to aid in the economic recovery for all our communities, with our team also working currently on applications for grants through the $250 million Back to Business Grant Program, and helping bring back tourism by providing grants to communities and tourism through the Tourism Attraction and Festival Grants Program. More information on these recovery programs can be found on our website at dceo.illinois.gov, along with a menu of supports that we are offering to assist anyone who is in need of help during this application process. In closing, I want to acknowledge one of our most exciting aspects of this program. This is the opportunity that it affords local cities, towns, chambers, and other local partners to support needed to turn their ideas from recovery into action. We look forward to working with our partners from this region and every corner of the state as we continue with efforts to accelerate our economic recovery. And now it's my pleasure to turn it over to one of these key partners here in Hillsborough, Jonathan Wire.
So, Governor, I get the chance to tell you about my favorite thing, which is Hillsborough. In Laudato Si', Pope Francis wrote this. He said, "Culture is more that we've inherited from the past. It's also living, dynamic, and a participatory present reality, which cannot be excluded as we rethink about the relationship between human beings and environment." Hillsborough and our downtown puts flesh on these words. It becomes a third place for people to gather together, to meet their neighbors, to let their children play together, to create our culture here in Hillsborough. It's a place where our past is remembered. Abe, right here with us, or up in the window there if you've missed him already. Our present is filled with life. If you come down here on a Saturday, it's full of life. Friday night, the corner, it's full of life. Wednesday night was full of life as we announced that we're a Smithsonian exhibit coming in 2023. And it's also here in our downtown where our future is dreamed. It's where a profound community spirit is developed. This spirit is what makes everything in Hillsborough work. It's the fuel of our town's creativity. It is how everything that's been done here in the last 20 years has come about because of this community, because of people who care. This is why redeveloping downtown communities are so important. It's not a question of making money or having a personal hobby. It's about creating spaces where people can flourish, where human beings can flourish. Because there's more to life than just money and pursuit and all those things. Is people getting together and being together and creating something beautiful. Hillsborough is one of those places, Governor, and we're thankful that you're putting money into this kind of program. It's an economic development program that we like to say around here. Our economic development is done as if people matter. And when we all start thinking that way, when people matter more than anything else, that beauty of that thought will change cultures, it'll change towns, and maybe it changes the world. Hillsborough is proof of that. So I have the pleasure of introducing Senator Doris Turner. And we had the pleasure of, I guess 2 months ago, showing you around town. And I loved having Senator around town because she's just very unassuming. I love how she goes up to people and is like, "Hi, I'm Doris. Nice to meet you." And everyone just loved it having her here. So it's my pleasure to bring her to the podium.
Good afternoon. It is really great to be back in Hillsborough, especially on such a beautiful day. Whoever ordered up the weather, thank you very much. So I am excited to be here this morning and join Governor Pritzker as he announces funding to assist with the rebuilding of Hillsborough's Main Street and all those other main streets throughout Illinois. This is a monumental announcement that will prove transformational for this community and all those other communities. As Jonathan said a few months ago, I had the opportunity to come to Hillsborough and take a walking tour with he and Mayor Downs. And I was just so impressed with the diversity of the businesses that were represented and the diversity of the stories of their owners, managers, and staff. And they all embody the stories not only of Hillsborough, but District 48, the amazing businesses here that are creating enterprising opportunities throughout the country. And as I said then, and I'm still looking so forward to spending the night at the historic Rooster Inn. And I hear that it's going to finally be done in the spring. So I'm coming back, I promise.
On Friday.
On a Friday, you said. Yeah, that was the joke. It was like, when's it going to be done? Friday. We're not saying which Friday, but Friday. So I'll be back Friday. I was newly appointed to serve as your state senator, and you welcomed me into your community, your businesses, and into our shared value of community and what is possible when we join to realize a common goal. The restoration process was beginning, and this funding will assist with continuing that process and reaching the goal of the vibrant, fully engaged community that we all certainly want to have happen. So I'm proud to support the restorative and transformational plans that we see in Hillsborough throughout the 48th and the entire state of Illinois. And I remain committed today, this year, and every year to make sure that we're doing everything possible to develop, invest, and reinvest in all of our state's main streets, building a sincere sense of community throughout our state. And with that, I invite Governor Pritzker back to the podium for questions.
Thank you, Doris. Thank you, Senator. Happy to take any questions from members of the media if you have any.
Governor, I know there are bluer places in Illinois you could have made an appearance. Is there a statement in the fact that you came here where maybe it's not a quote-unquote stronghold?
Well, you're making the assumption that when we make decisions in state government that they're based on people's politics in some area of the state. The fact is that I'm governor of the entire state of Illinois. So whatever party anybody belongs to, my work isn't done unless I'm working for everybody. So I'm glad to be here, and always glad to welcome people of either party to the effort to revitalize our downtowns, to help our small businesses, to help us grow as a state economically and otherwise.
I I guess there's a common thread looking through the state. I know the Magnificent Mile has its struggles, and there's, I guess, commonality with downtowns, I guess, in particular, of special challenges coming back from the pandemic.
Well, and I can say, I think all of you know this, that before the pandemic, we had downtowns, and we still do, across the state of Illinois that are struggling. The pandemic made it worse for many, but this was a challenge before I ever showed up in public office. And I think it's a shame. We need to invest in our downtown areas for the very reasons that Mr. Wire was saying just moments ago. You know, these are our gathering places. This is where we, you know, have a vital center of human activity and interaction. Also, the economy has helped when we have vital downtowns. So you know, Deputy Governor Andy Minar, who's standing behind you, has been helping me for the last at least 6 months, 7-8 months, since he came to work with me and left the state senate. But even before that, to focus on how do we bring back business and jobs to areas of the state that have been sometimes left out, left behind. And so this is just one way that we came up with to try to make investments that will make a difference in the future. Look, the pandemic is still with us. It's still challenging for so many people. We're trying to push past that, though, and think about not just what's happening this year and our recovery over the coming year, but also about the next 10 years. What does Hillsborough look like 10 years from now for people? And can we get families to come, you know, get attracted to living in and around Hillsborough, so that all across central and southern Illinois, where we've seen in the census data loss of population, that we can turn that around.
Well, I know traveling the state and going to towns, I'm sure you haven't been before. These masonry buildings are hitting a certain age, late 19th century buildings, and does this address some of those specific concerns where they're hitting a certain critical mass stage, I guess, in their lifespan?
Well, this is a beginning of that. This is less about the facades and more about sort of the undergirding infrastructure that you need to build upon if you're going to attract businesses and jobs. And I'll just, you know, add one thing you didn't ask about, but broadband internet, high-speed broadband internet is absolutely vital. And you got to keep building on that faster and faster if you're going to attract businesses. Businesses don't want to move to a place where they can't access it either in the downtown areas or in people's homes. And so we've got to make it so that everywhere in Illinois, and that's our plan, we have a Connect Illinois plan that we're already invested $100 million in. It's a matching plan, so this will ultimately be $1 billion of investment across the state of Illinois to make sure that every one of your homes and neighborhoods and downtown areas have high-speed, good, solid high-speed internet.
Well, Governor, I know the first stage is the aid programs. You're like the fire department rushing to the scene. How refined, having a chance to 15, 16 months to refine this process, how do you think this process has improved over that time to make this even a better program than what you had in the early days?
Now, you talk about the back to business investments, for example, yeah, or just everything we're doing to address the pandemic and, you know, in terms of business and jobs. I mean, look, we were on a good trajectory. This is the most frustrating thing in the world. You know, you come into office, you see the problems of the state of Illinois, the budget challenges that we have, the challenges of disinvestment, the desire for economic growth, and you start to make real progress. Now, I was only in office for about a year when the pandemic hit. And you start to make real progress, and then, you know, and then you're everybody here has struggled in one fashion or another, and certainly the entire state with this pandemic. So we've got to, you know, not only push past that, make sure we're keeping people safe and healthy and alive, and invest in healthcare, but we also have to make sure everybody can get a job and that we're growing our economy. And all of those things are, those are just things that we have to live with. What have I learned through that process? First of all, how amazingly resilient the people of the state of Illinois are. Many of you know, because you did it, you know, working in your communities, helping maybe an elderly neighbor who, you know, during the worst parts of the pandemic haven't been able to go out to the grocery store, by just picking up groceries and delivering it to them. There's a young girl, 7 years old, who came up with the idea to make masks And she was literally manufacturing masks. She got some materials, she started creating a design, and manufactured masks to give to homeless people. I mean, just the number of stories that I could tell you that I've learned and you all have seen gives me such faith in the people of Illinois. So one thing I've learned is we can get through anything in Illinois. We can. The second thing I've learned is that we got to get help fast as we can to where it's needed. So again, this is part of that program, trying to invest in what we think is not only good for today, but also for the next 10 years.
I know small business.
Yep, I want to just get a question over here if you don't mind. Yeah. Otherwise, you and I can have a dialogue for about a half an hour. I'm sure there's a lot of interesting questions. Yes, sir.
I assume the DCO is in charge of the application process. Is that ready to roll out now, Monday morning? And then a follow-up.
It is, and I might want to ask you to come back up and talk about that.
From that application
Yeah.
process, when do you expect the money to start hitting the streets?
Allie?
Thank you. The NOFO is out, has been released today. It's up on our website. And applications
Explain
on...
what a NOFO is.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Notice of Funding Opportunity is out on our website now and available. And the applications for this program are due in early January. So we would look to see, review the applications and make the awards thereafter in the springtime.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Governor, Kevin Schott, I'm the Director of Emergency Management for the county. You mentioned the high-speed internet. Well, it's not just for business. We've got areas in the county, we've got areas in the state that we go out on a call, police, fire, EMS, and our communication is not what it should be. We need not only the high-speed internet, but some additional cell towers built. I don't know if anybody is looking at that. I can certainly give you areas in my county that we need some cell phone towers. I don't know how much luck I'd have calling AT&T up and asking them to put a tower somewhere, but state government, on the other hand, might be able to help us out.
Well, first of all, thank you for your service, because the emergency management personnel all across the state have been vital to our response to the pandemic. And of course, as many of you know and have experienced, we've had 100-year floods every couple of years now across the state and river towns and elsewhere, and other tragic consequences, I think, of climate change. But so thank you for the work that you do. In response specifically, look, you're right. It's not just for businesses, not just for people's homes and schools, by the way, all of which are very important. But we got to make sure that we've got good communications equipment, up-to-date communications equipment for all of our emergency management personnel, as well as all of our public safety personnel, our police around the state, and so on. And so I think there's a lot that we can do. And as it happens, you've got economic development people all around you, literally, right now. So we're all hearing your same message, and I'll make sure that we find a way to be helpful to you.
Thank you.
One more question.
You bet. Yes,
Governor,
sir.
I know a lot of businesses don't have the office of grant writing, a cubicle for that. I know this process is a little bit intimidating, but I understand that DCEO in particular has just sent ground troops around the state to help people through the process. It isn't just, hey, we're dumping this on a website, apply, get it right or not. You've gone a little further than that.
We have. And again, I'm going to ask Allie to talk about actually how you can plug into that help, because I agree there are an awful lot of people who start a business, they know an awful lot about their business, but grant writing and applying for federal or state money is not usually what they do, and in fact for city money sometimes.
Yes, sir.
So, go ahead, Allie.
Thank you. So DCEO has employed a couple resources to help with that this year. Right now we have our Community Navigator program that is deployed. We have over 130 organizations across the state that are working with small businesses, especially focusing on our Back to Business program. We've tapped into community leaders across the state. So they're there. Again, accessing them and their information of where they are is on our website at dceo.illinois.gov. Additionally, beyond that, we have resources all the time on there through our First Stop Business Center, our SBDC network, that are here to help businesses and communities across the state, as well as my team, the Regional Economic Development Team. We live and work in the regions across the state, and we're here to be of assistance to you. So don't hesitate to reach out to the department, and we'll provide all the assistance that we can.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Hey, I would like to reiterate on Sean Bolent's question about red or blue. I thought we was red, white, and blue. But I think the real reason, and they chose our little town of Hillsborough, Illinois. Former Senator Menard has been here several times. He's from a small town. Our council, starting when Mayor Sullivan was involved, we started the facade grants. We started putting pride back in this little community. Business owners took pride to own a business in town again. And we're still, it's a stride. We're still getting there. And let's hope this helps us a lot more in the future. Thank you all for coming.